Yeah, it's cold. It's cold in there as well, Karl.
Sorry, it's cold.
It's cold in there, yeah.
It's got a jumper on.
Very good afternoon and welcome back to the McCure Telford Centre Hotel for continued live coverage of Event 5 of the 2019 EPA Pool Tour. Up next, the quarter-final match between Karl Sutton and Dale Greenwood. Karl Sutton that won the lag and broke off in frame 1, but as you can see, black ball down, so going to restart the frame. So, take 2 from Karl Sutton. A powerful break, better result this time. A red and a yellow potted, but the black stayed on the table. All split pretty nicely. You might have a slight preference for yellow, but you could make a case for either colour. Indeed, red's his choice. Although this ball on the right hand side cushion just below the middle pocket is in a slightly awkward position, actually links up quite well with the other balls because he can roll this one in and end up almost straight on it, and then once he rolls this one down to the bottom right, he'll also be almost straight on the one to the centre. So although it didn't look to be that promising a position where this ball was, it actually joins up pretty well with everything else, which is why he elected for reds in the end. A surprise miss. Never easy when you're playing a ball that's just off the cushion, but from right behind it you'd have expected him to pop that. First look then at Dale Greenwood, a player we haven't seen before on the stream. Been on tour for about a year now, Dale. Hails from the Huddersfield area. Very accomplished player and starting to make his mark on the tour now. Big task ahead of him though. Karl Sutton, individual European champion, multiple world team champion, and a prolific winner in this event over the years. Always important for the player that you might regard as the slight underdog, which I guess you would say about Dale in this case, to get off to the better start. Karl's been here and done this enough times that he's going to be pretty well settled down in this arena regardless of what happens. This must be starting to feel a bit more real for Dale now. Played down to the quarter-finals this morning, then there's a bit of a break in the middle of the day while the Challenge and Premier League events are taking place. Then now we're on the home straight for the tour. We're playing straight the way through quarter-finals, semi-finals and then final all in a row tonight, so this is the bit that really matters. As always, a stacked field, some big names still remaining in this competition. This is the last event of the 2019 season, a season that started way back in January, February time in Blackpool. Moved around the centre of the country. Daventry and Northamptonshire was our last event at the end of August. And then this weekend over in Shropshire. Now, does the bottom of these yellows go past the other one? I don't think he was playing it quite like that. He's run a little bit too far with that positional shot. The bottom one pots, this will still be okay. Yeah, it looks like it does go in. It's just left it at slightly more distance than he would ideally have liked, but it shouldn't be a problem. Doesn't have too much to do with the cue ball, he just needs to drop the ball in. He's going to have natural-ish position on the last yellow. Doesn't need to hit this too hard, just stroke it in, give it every chance. Well, doesn't need to hit it too hard, he does need to hit it hard enough to reach the pocket. Unfortunately for him, he's failed to do that. So when it looked like the winning post was in sight in this frame, just let that ball get away from him. So second chance for Karl Sutton. Pretty straightforward opportunity this, whichever way he goes about it. Great harm where he's finished up because he's got the ball over the pocket, although he wasn't playing it quite like this. Best of 13 frames this quarter-final, so first man to 7 will be booking their place in the semis. So after the surprising miss earlier on in the frame, normal service resumed from Karl Sutton. He strikes first blood and leads Dale Greenwood by 1 frame to 0. So Dale Greenwood to break off in frame 2. Nothing wrong with that break. We've seen in some of the earlier matches today that the players have been struggling to make a ball off the break, but both of these two look pretty purposeful about it. Be a little disappointed with the way the last frame went. He looked to be in pretty good shape and then just left a ball short of the pocket, which is what invited his opponent back to the table. The thing about playing a player as good as Karl Sutton, you're going to get some chances, but you're just not going to get multiple chances. You've got to take the ones you do get. Not very often going to get more than one in the same frame, so you need to make things count when you get the opportunity. Winner of this match will play the winner of the match that's just started on one of the outside tables between Neil Toms and Mike King. That's the first of our 2 semi-finals tonight. That'll be streamed live at 6 o'clock. And in the other semi-final we'll have the winner of Ben Swinnerton and Dan Eaton-Lees facing off against the winner of Phil Harrison and Ben Flack. Beaten some good players to get to this point, Dale Greenwood. Beat Sam Bircher in the deciding frame first thing this morning, prevailing 7-6 there. Then he beat Eddie Barker 7-5 in the last 16. We saw Eddie Barker on the stream earlier on playing in the Premier League match. And he's a very experienced player with a lot of quality, so that shows the level that Dale's playing at. unsurprisingly taking his time to plan this out. No bad thing really in this situation to play at your own pace. Karl Sutton's going to be the quicker of the two players in this match, but doesn't mean you have to try and match him in that department. It's going to be a good frame to win, because Karl will be very disappointed with that last shot. Attempting to play a deliberate foul and ending up leaving the yellow over the pocket is a pretty careless outcome. I think he was concerned more with exactly where he left the cue ball. Yellow's a clear favourite at this stage of the frame. Could decide to go for an attacking option, or if he doesn't want to do that, he can try and cover the bottom left-hand corner pocket at some stage. Ball sitting pretty well for a clearance. The yellow to the right of the black is obviously not a completely straightforward shot. That's what he's going to be going after here. Wasn't an easy shot, but it's the kind of shot that he is going to need to be getting if he's going to make any headway in this match. Well, it's not often you see Karl Sutton play two bad shots in a row, but that's what he's done here. He's not really achieved anything with that. He was trying to play a tight containing shot to tie up that bottom right-hand corner pocket. He's actually done quite the opposite and opened it up. So it's all about what happens to the ball that's to the left of the black. All the other yellows clearly pot. In theory, he's still got some time, because the position of the red bottom right means that there's no immediate clearance for Karl Sutton should he come back to the table. These positions do have a habit of getting worse though, so I imagine he'll be quite keen to get this frame resolved sooner rather than later. Demeanour around the table seems pretty confident. He doesn't look too fazed by the occasion, nor would you expect him to be. It's not quite at ease though. Positionally, a couple of the last clearances, it just looks to have made it a little bit difficult. Potting's been fine, but a couple of times it looks like he's just been chasing the position slightly. Same thing's happened a bit here. Still okay, but it's not absolutely obvious, which is why he's spending a bit more time thinking about it. Looks like he has a plan, but just doesn't have quite the same confidence. You see Karl Sutton at the table, it just looks like he knows exactly where the cue ball's going. seems to have the plan comprehensively mapped out before he starts. Dale's playing well here, but just taking a little bit longer to steady himself, decide which way to go. Painful situation to be in this. We've all been in this position where you're playing a top player, you end up chasing frames just a little bit more than perhaps you would against a player that you thought you were a strong favourite against. Both of the first two frames have gone a similar way, where Dale's been in first and looked like he had a clearance available, but then the ball has just eluded him. Quite a dangerous situation this, the position of the Reds. If he doesn't get this safe, he knows his opponent's going to have some kind of clearance available. Doesn't have to try and get out of this snooker, could just try to get safe behind one of these Reds and not leave his opponent a first shot. Though a player of this quality you would expect probably would clear up in the one visit, so that's by no means a foolproof option. If he does try and get out of the snooker, he's absolutely got to hit a yellow. The one thing you really can't do from this kind of position is risk giving two away and getting the cue ball into open play. I think that's a more than sensible shot. His chances in this frame still aren't great, because Karl's plenty capable of clearing up with one visit. He'll use the first one to set some kind of shot up and then go for it, but at least he's made life a bit harder for him. Oh, well, how's that for a shot? Position's actually not worked out perfectly because he's not the red safe, but great double and did very well to knock that red at all. And in fact, although it didn't go in the middle, it did go to the corner, which will suit him just fine. So this frame now about to go the way of Karl Sutton. Very effortless touch around the table. He hardly touched that ball and saw the reaction he got on the cue ball. So often at this level, this is the difference. That it's not that much to choose between the players, but it's just the one that's the more consistent takes the opportunities that they get that tends to prevail. You don't have to be knocking in world-beating clearances all the time, but you just have to take what's on offer, which is exactly what Karl's done there. So the second frame on his side of the scoreboard, he now leads Dale Greenwood by 2 frames to 0. Karl Sutton then to break off in frame 3. Another great break. We've seen a lot of top players play on the stream today and over the course of the previous tournaments. Some probably hit the break a little bit harder than Karl, but somehow it's just something very effortless. Seems to just get a lot of power into the pack, lots of movement on the balls. All that's quite controlled. He doesn't look like he's throwing himself at it. This is just a perfect split. Not at all where he wanted the cue ball, but it should still be okay. Should be pretty straightforward here. The only thing that's important is making sure he's got an angle on the ball after this one. He'll take the one top left next. Just wants to leave an angle on the one to the right centre to get down for the one at the bottom of the table. You're always better to err on the side of having too much angle. If you get greedy with this kind of shot and try and get the perfect position, you sometimes leave yourself the wrong side. Karl's got a decent angle to work with, can go behind the yellow. And this is what he can do to you. Nicked a last frame that he perhaps shouldn't have done. An effortless break and clearance in the third frame. Another one goes the way of Karl. He now leads by 3 frames to 0. To bring you up to date with the scores on the other tables, Neil Toms leading Mike King by 3 frames to 1. Dan Eaton Lee's 2-0 up on Ben Swinnerton. And Phil Harrison 1-0 to the good against Ben Flack. It's the winner of the Toms-King match that will be playing the winner of this match in the first of the semi-finals at 6 o'clock. Right now it's looking more likely than not that it's going to be Karl Sutton in that semi-final, but I feel like we haven't yet seen the best of Dale Greenwood. He's by all accounts a very good player, as is proved by the fact that he's reached this quarter-final. Decent break. It's potted a red ball, but not a perfect split.
Table 12, David Stock, Andy Jones. Table 13, Matt Greeley, Lee Howard. Table 14, James Grant, Adam Thomas. Table 16, Matt Cook, Martin Walker.
Getting to that awkward stage of the match where he's just desperate to get his first frame on the board. I don't mean desperate in the sense of any lack of control. He's not looking like he's chasing the match at all. He's played pretty steadily, but it's very hard not to be thinking, oh, it would just be nice to get the first frame on the board. If he is able to get that first frame on the board sooner rather than later, we could see a real match up here. The danger is if he slips too far behind, it's just going to be too big a mountain to climb against a player of Karl's quality. It's by no means a bad opportunity, but it's not a completely regulation one either. Apparently you'd say it's a slightly more difficult position than the couple he's let slip earlier on in the match. And so often that's the case in pool. You miss one opportunity and then just desperately hoping to get another one. The opportunities just get harder and harder as you carry on. Difficulty is the yellow nearest to the black. There's not quite enough space to get through to it to put it to the corner from where he is. It's fairly inaccessible from that position. There's no obvious route towards it from where he is at the moment. So he's going to need to play a cannon into it now. Looked a very easy way of playing that cannon. I'm not sure, to be fair, that there was an easy way as such, but it looked like moving the black might have been the safer option. It always looked like it was going to be difficult to force through on that side of it and leave any kind of shot. Once again, things have just got a bit awkward here. He's potted well in this clearance, but he's just got slightly out of shape.
Lee Briscoe, please. Top table, Lee Briscoe.
Looking at this, whether this yellow will pot. I'm not sure he can get to the potting angle as such. He may be able to play it off the red. Not easy to judge though from this close. And how's his luck? Well, not great, I guess you'd say. At least he's got a clear shot at the yellow in the middle of the table. It's going to be quite difficult though to get up and down. If that red hadn't come close to the yellow that's bottom right, he'd have been able to play the cue ball up and down the left-hand side of the table and leave a relatively straightforward shot at it. The problem he's got now is that there's almost nowhere where this yellow pot's from. It's not really a very natural angle to get into it. So it looks like he's going to have to put this ball to the corner, which makes the pot more difficult, but it's the only way he can get onto the yellow. Well, he'll settle for that. That obviously was not remotely what he played in terms of missing the yellow, but did the other part of the shot kind of okay, trying to get into that yellow to knock it into play, and he's done better than that. He's knocked it over the pocket. So actually, had a bit of running there. Option's a bit limited from this position. You can still see the left-hand side of the yellow. I'd rather play the yellow in the middle of the table. Clearly, there's not much value really in going near the one over the pocket. It would be very hard not to pot it, and if you did pot it, it would be very hard to get position. His priority here is just going to be to get the yellow into play and make sure he doesn't go in off in the bottom left-hand corner. Both of those objectives achieved reasonably well. There's quite a lot of value in Karl's shoes in playing for a snooker again, unless he thinks that the red will pass under the yellow to the bottom right. He just really wants to buy himself a bit of time. He knows that as long as he snookers Dale on the yellow that's in open play, it doesn't matter too much whether or not he can see the one over the corner pocket. Sufficiently well guarded by that red that even if you could squeeze the cue ball through, you might get it in, but you're not really going to get it out again. So coming off the bottom cushion with right hand side. Karl figuring there that it didn't really matter leaving a full ball shot at this yellow because there isn't that much positive that Dale can do with it.
Table 11, play Karl, Mark, Ash.
Absolutely clear what he was trying to do there. They've been trying to knock the black towards the bottom right hand corner pocket, although that wasn't without its problems. I'm not sure whether that would have been the shot to have played. One of Karl's issues has been resolved, which is the red that was in the middle of the bottom cushion has now been knocked over the pocket. Still the one bottom right though that's an issue. The reason he's annoyed about that is I think he was hoping to double the red that's over the bottom right back over to the left hand side of the table. That would have worked if that red had stayed over the pocket. The problem is, because it hasn't, it meant that that double wasn't on anymore, which is why he's been forced to play the containing shot. Once again, not quite found the snooker, but hasn't left Dale a particularly useful part of the ball. If there wasn't a ball over the bottom left-hand corner pocket, this would be a pretty good position, because even if you can't pot the yellow that's above the black, you could potentially have skimmed off that and knocked into the other plant. There's not really much point doing anything like that here, because the side of the yellow he's going to hit, he's always going to knock this yellow, the one that's above the black, relatively safe, you would feel. It's hard to imagine quite how he's going to play off the right hand side of it as we look and end up knocking it into any kind of realistically possible position. Slight grimace there, that's not really what he wanted. I'm not sure in honesty whether it would have been a great deal better if the yellow had gone in though, because he'd have had a very difficult shot on the next yellow. Bad outcome though, clearly, to have opened up the reds for what you assume will be a frame-winning clearance from Karl. The red on the right hand side of the table will drop into the middle pocket. You'd ideally want to be relatively close behind it. You assume his plan is going to be to leave it till the last ball and he can just drop it in with the black there waiting. It's not perfect though, he's just come a little bit too far straight, or maybe just the wrong side of straight on the ball to the left centre. If he is the wrong side of it, it's actually going to be quite hard to get position on the red on the right hand side of the table. It's a little bit careless that. He's almost played too good position on this ball that he's currently on. If he had the cue balls a few inches further up the table, he would have had a natural angle. You have to screw right the way across the table now. Well, you can't really play that shot much better than that. It's made it look really easy, but actually very limited margin for error playing it that way. So we're looking a little bit one-sided at the moment. Not sure 4-0 is necessarily representative of the play. Dale Greenwood's played his part in this match, but the difference has been Karl's just been that little bit more clinical at getting the frames finished. And all the frames have followed a similar pattern of Dale getting in, potting a few balls, but just not quite getting the job done at the end. It's going to be a very frustrating game when you're in that kind of position. You feel like you're doing a lot of the hard work, but not getting anything to show for it on the scoreboard. This last break was a 8-ball clearance. Not really fair this time. I'll tell you what, this break is just working so well at the moment. Maybe unlucky with the position of the red against the cue ball here, but look how well the ball's split up again. A lot of the other top players will be looking at this break and trying to figure out what it is that Karl's doing differently. He's had a dramatically different result on this table from some of the matches we've seen on the stream earlier on. It's more like he's hitting the ball well than hard. There's a sort of intangible difference between the two. Like sometimes people seem to really smash into the cube, into the pack of balls, but they don't split up that well. Karl just seems to be effortlessly getting into the pack, ball splitting far and wide. make such a difference if you can afford yourself these free first visit clearances. Just like a free chance at a frame before your opponent's had any chance to do anything. All starting to get quite critical for Dale. He's kind of in the territory at the moment where I suspect his mind may be wandering towards getting the score respectable. He's not really in a position yet to be thinking about winning the match, but just needs to get a toehold on the match, get back into it, get it levelled up, and then he can start focusing on bigger aspirations of getting through to the semi-final. Caught that ball a bit thinner than he wanted, which is why he almost slipped out of position. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad where he is. At least he's got a clear shot at the ball, top right of the table, or potentially bottom left if he felt so inclined, although it's hard to imagine why he'd want to take that ball on. Well, not as he'd have set out at the beginning of this clearance, but it's kind of all worked out okay. He's got this moderately difficult ball down the left-hand side cushion. As long as he pots it, he's going to have natural position on the red to the centre. So he really just needs to focus on the pot here. Struck nicely, got a good angle on the ball in the middle pocket to work his way up towards the baulk line. Right now, this is looking like a difficult standard to live with. If he does dispose of these final three balls, that's going to be 2 clearances from the break in a row. Oh, in a great positional shot there, made that leg straight forward. So, for the second time in 2 breaks, clearance in 1 visit from Karl Sutton. Opponent can't really argue with that. There's been 2 good breaks and 2 good clearances. See him tapping the table in appreciation. Right now, though, Dale Greenwood's got a job to do. He's done so well to get to this semi-final, quarter-final, I should say. He wants to see if he can keep that fairy tale going. Big thank you as always to our sponsors. The tables, as they have been for a long time, provided by Supreme Pool, Strachan Cloth and Aramith balls, all combining to provide excellent playing conditions. Going to be moving on to a new cloth, going from green to grey next season, going for a more modern look, or at least modern in the sense that it's become a recent trend to look at other colours. For the longest time, green was the only colour really that you would ever get a pool table in if you played at a serious level, but good quality cloths now available in other colours. Ah, that's what he was looking for. Good solid break there from Dale. The ball split up nicely. If he's going to be having any impact in this match and continuing in the tournament, he'll be wanting to clear these balls up. Really couldn't ask for them much better than this. Start with the 2 balls at the top of the table, just looking at where he wants to ultimately end up when he moves down this end. He's coming a little bit straight on this yellow. I think he can force an angle off the baulk cushion, but may have to inject a bit more pace than he wanted. think they're down the left-hand side of the table, should leave him a shot. The yellow that's directly in the centre of the table below the black spot would seem to be the next shot he'd want to be on. How often do we see that? Trying to play with check side. The cue ball naturally wanted to go to the right. He was playing it with left-hand side to try and pull it down the left-hand side of the table. The trouble is, because you're fighting against the path the cue ball wants to take, you just end up killing the pace. It takes so much energy to change its course. It's very hard to hit the ball hard enough and with enough side spin to come down the full length of the table. Still got a shot, but thinner than he would have liked. So you're queuing up on some right-hand side to swing the cue ball wide, hold position. Oh, that's turned out really nicely. That red was in quite a good position to hold. As long as he made some foolish contact on it, the cue ball was going to stay down this end of the table. Needs making there, this plant. Distance between the two yellows and going to have to hit the cue ball at an angle. I think he's just going to have to commit to the plant and play for the yellow that's on the bottom cushion. And ultimately, quite a long way away from making that. Once again, it's been the tale of the three frames that he's had shots in. He's been in decent opportunities in all of them. Just tended to miss the fourth or fifth ball each time. Well, could that be the opportunity that he needs? Very uncharacteristic miss from Karl. Not completely straightforward any time you're playing right the way across the table into the centre pocket like that. There's perhaps a little bit more space than it might, a bit less space I should say than it looks like from when you see it on TV. You have got to be quite accurate with those, but still it was not a shot you would have expected him to miss. Fairly natural position this, just you've got to make sure of making the pot. Cue ball's naturally going to come across the table over to the left hand side, should leave him a shot at the yellow to the left hand corner pocket. Well, elected to play down to the one on the bottom cushion. Have to play a really delicate shot here, doesn't want the cue ball moving very far. That's too far. Very difficult shot to play that. Back in the days when you didn't used to have to hit a cushion after contact with the object ball, those shots were so straightforward, you could just roll up behind them. But it's been a long time since that's been okay as a rule. You've got to make contact with the cushion if you don't pass a ball, to discourage safety play. You've got a feel for Dale. He just needs a decent opportunity. Keeps having these chances that are there, but just not easily there. He's having to always work a little bit. You have to say though, Karl's last two shots have been, well, that shot and the shot two before have been very uncharacteristic. Funny, isn't it? You can be 5-0 up in a match. Essentially, he's walking all over his opponent. It looks like he's going to win this match by a comfortable margin, but still doesn't actually look that happy with the situation. Most of the top players are perfectionists and don't enjoy playing anything other than their best. And that's a characteristic you need, really, if you're going to get to the top level of any sport. However good you are, you've got to be striving for constant improvement. A makeable shot on either of these two yellows. It's just not a particularly natural position wants to play this really with right hand side, but it makes the putt more difficult. Oh, that's unfortunate. On another day that would have dropped in, but just hung tantalisingly on the lip of the pocket. He'll be a lucky man if he wins this frame, Karl Sutton. He's had 2 good opportunities already. You don't very often get a third. Just lining up a double on the last red. Not really got enough angle to get behind it or do anything clever, so the double presents the best opportunity. Without wanting to jinx him, this is a position where doubles are reasonably easy to judge when they're quite a narrow angle into the middle pocket. Well, he's actually missed that by quite a way. So this surely is the decisive moment in this match for Dale Greenwood. He's got to win from this position. He's had several opportunities already in this frame, several more than he might have expected to get. Would dearly love to have been on these 2 balls as a plant. If the cue ball had just been slightly higher up the table, then would have made this clearance unmissable. Now it's going to turn on playing one good positional shot. That's not bad. Just drop this ball in the pocket, the cue ball naturally going over to the right hand side of the table. Should be easy enough to play off one or maybe ideally a second cushion just to hold position for the black. So just this black's required for Dale Greenwood's first frame in this quarter-final. It's a frame neither player will be entirely happy with when they look back at it, but it's the man walking away from the table that will be much the happier of the 2 players. Still got a big task ahead of him, but at least he's now opened his account. Karl Sutton currently leading by 5 frames to 1. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage of the quarter-final between Karl Sutton and Dale Greenwood. This is event 5 of the 2019 EPA Pool Tour, coming live from the McCure Telford Centre Hotel. The winner of this match will be playing the winner of the match between Neil Toms and Mike King. Neil is currently 6-4 up in that match. That semi-final will be streamed at 6 o'clock. Right now, Karl Sutton in the box seat for this match, but I wouldn't say he looks entirely happy. Slightly annoyed to have let that last frame slip away. As a neutral, you would have some sympathy with the position that Dale was in, being 5-0 down, but when you're at the table, you don't really have any sympathy with that position. You just want to keep your opponent as cold as possible until they've won their first frame. They're always chasing the match slightly. We're about to find out whether, having won that first frame, Dale's able to kick on from there. Bar the black, this is actually a pretty good opportunity. It's Karl Sutton's first dry break of the match. He's going to try and cannon the black here. Well, not a bad shot. Maybe he just wanted to play that with a little bit more commitment. say that, of course, when you see the outcome of the shot. Generally, those shots you are better to err on the side of control rather than hitting them too hard. There, felt like maybe just took a little bit too much pace off the ball. This is an awkward position. It feels like one of those clearances where you've really got to go for it, because the position of the Reds is such that if he does break down, his opponent's going to have a decent counter opportunity. But at the same time, it's just not an opportunity you're certain of making, really. I wouldn't say, based on what we've seen so far, that you could really say there's anywhere particularly close to 100% chance of a clearance from here. So it looks like he's going to have to take the yellow, the leftmost of these three, along to the corner pocket. It's just off straight, so positionally it's fairly straightforward. He just needs to hold the cue ball close to where it is for the middle of the three yellows across the table. It's not entirely clear what he's proposing to do with the black, though. He's going to have to drop either in front or behind it, play it up the line in one direction or the other. Bit of pressure on this pot, because if this goes astray, he's going to have opened all the Reds up. He just felt that was one that just might get away from him. That was the shot really that was going to determine this frame. So a similar challenge for Karl, really. It's the black that's the most problematic ball. It's also the red on the right-hand side cushion that does pop, but it's not an easy shot. So electing for the cut in the middle pocket. The pot itself should be okay. I don't think he's going to be brave enough to hit this too hard. No real opportunity to get the white away from the cushion, just had to make sure of the pot. So, a moderately difficult shot this. Nothing particularly difficult about the pot, but it's just the fact that he's so close to the cushion. Stroked in and out, over the pocket. So just the black to worry about now. looks like he's committed to just playing it along down the left-hand side cushion. It's just going to screw down and try and get as close as possible and pretty straight. So this shot for Karl Sutton to get within one of victory. Good clearance in the end from Karl. So best of 13, first man to 7 goes through. Karl Sutton's got 6 of those frames already. It's going to be a long way back from here for Dale Greenwood. Showing glimpses of what he can do, but ultimately there's been a slight inconsistency around the finishing that's cost him. Reminder about our schedule for the rest of the evening. Currently watching the quarter-final match. We'll then have a little bit of a typo, I think, in the schedule. It's actually semi-final 1 that we'll be showing at 6 o'clock, and then semi-final 2 at 8 o'clock, and then the tour final 10 o'clock tonight. There we are. That's corrected and ready to go as Dale Greenwood gets us underway. Frame number 8. Lovely position to be in this for Karl. When you're several frames ahead and on the hill, you know you're going to have a number of opportunities to win the match. 6 to be precise. Can win any of the next 6 frames and we'll go through to the semi-final. No point making life difficult though, he obviously wants to get it done as quickly as possible. For Dale, meanwhile, nothing really to lose at this stage. Obviously a major underdog to get back into this match, but you never know. Once you can win a couple of frames, it starts at least giving your opponent something to think about. So right now his priority's just got to be take the frames one at a time. Basically not a bad position, but just a bit of traffic on the left-hand side that's going to be tricky to negotiate. Still an open table, so option of reds or yellows, but the yellows clearly the preferable suit. Well, certainly wasn't intending to hit another ball on the way through to the cluster on the left-hand side. Almost turned out pretty well, but just not quite. The 2 yellows have got themselves a bit tied up, and the white has ended up a little close to this red for comfort. It's all about what he does with the 2 yellows. They're tied up near the middle pocket. He hasn't got an angle to get into them from here, so he's going to have to put the ball top right and then try and leave himself some kind of angle. Alternatively, he could go into them from the ball at the bottom of the table. Quite a difficult cannon from this position. Easy to end up getting the white stuck behind a red playing it like that. Well, that's turned out pretty good. Played the shot in a positive way, so can't for a second fault him with that, but didn't quite know where those balls were going to turn out. This is looking good though. He can put the middle of the 3 yellows, get on the left-hand most one, which is the most difficult one. And if he can get that dispatched, it should be relatively plain sailing from that. I didn't have the angle to play for the difficult one, so he's going to have to come back for that. So now I'm going to clear the balls from top down, I guess. Take one off the top right hand corner first and then leave one to the middle after that. That looks pretty much perfect, just needs a slight angle on this yellow. Enough angle. So what's the trouble when you're trying to force an angle? I think he just, it's a little bit straighter than he wanted on that one. Trying to force the angle, you end up having to put more pace into the keyboard and slightly lose control. Just needed to come past that yellow without knocking into it. Now doesn't go to the middle, so the only choice will be to play it along to the corner. Which has turned it into quite a challenging shot, because whilst playing that he's also going to have to screw back to get position on the black, so he can't play this completely dead weight. He's going to have to put a little bit more pace into it. Struggling as well to find a good place to put his hand on the side of the table. Oh, so close. Struck that ball positively and got very close to the pot. Will that be his last shot in this year's tour? Well, maybe not. It's not the result Karl was looking for. He was looking to get a lot more movement of the white, trying to get past the red that he's ended up stuck to. Quite fortunate in the end to leave a touching ball, because it made a much easier safety shot. I think really he's going to have to come off the right hand side cushion. It's probably a slightly easier escape playing off the left hand side, but you don't really want to be hitting the ball from that direction. See where he's putting his cue now. At least if he can promote the ball towards the corner pocket, he puts a little bit of pressure on his opponent. The worst thing here, bar missing it altogether, would be to knock this yellow safe, because effectively just gives Karl the freedom to go for a clearance, knowing that he still won't be leaving anything. So you'd think just a moderate pace, hit the yellow on the right hand side, just try and promote it over that corner pocket. Oh, tricky, he's had to play with a bit of side to make that angle. Well, that's actually not the worst leave. Hard to imagine him getting another shot, but at least he's made life a little bit difficult. A very mature shot that from Karl. Knew that he didn't need to try and do anything clever. A lot of players, I think, would have been tempted to play the ball up the line, thinking that if they potted it, they'd still have the 2 shots, but it wasn't a high percentage shot, and you would very likely have run out of position, so he's played it the sensible way. Not happy with the fact that those reds have clustered together. And that's a good shot. Not in perfect position, but he's got the balls open at least now. So, looking for all the world now, like Dale has played his last shot in this match. Just these 3 balls stand between Karl and a semi-final berth. Still no closer to knowing the identity of his semi-final opponent though. Neil Toms tied 6-all with Mike King. Dale Greenwood offers warm congratulations. In the end, there wasn't really much he could do. He had some chances, but just couldn't quite clinch a few of the early frames. That gave his opponent a bit too much confidence, and after that, Karl Sutton was a tricky opponent. Semi-final will be following at 6 o'clock. Thanks for your company in this one. We hope you can join us then.
Martin Woody in the room, please.
Yes, they don't blame me about.